All right, we are ready to go for more thoroughbred horse racing coverage on Proline TV, following the Breeders' Cup. And Jon Hardoon, of course, joining us from the Rikers and Sheets. And John, it's a very slow period when you get through to the end of the season. You've got a lot going on when you have the big Derby trials and the big Triple Crown and a very busy summer in the Breeders' Cup. But this is probably the slow time of the year between now and January.
Well, towards the end, you're going to have Gulfstream, their championship meet starting towards the end of December. You have the opening of Santa Anita towards the end of December. But at this point, it's the lull, I guess.
Yeah, and look, there's going to be stakes races. The Mother Goose is one of the races we're going to talk about on the show today, and there will be some other stakes races, obviously, that we're going to cover. But just want to let everybody know that since it is going to be the holiday season and a lot of the big races are in the rear view, we might have a week off or two between now and before things start picking up. I know they even have isn't there like one or two prep races that begin like at the end of this year for the Derby? They have
no, but you have the Pegasus, which is in January. That's the big race at Gulfstream. No, for the Derby at this point, I don't think so.
Yeah, I thought I saw that when I was looking over my Derby stuff last year. Like some weird thing that said it was a race like in the year, like December or November, and you had like points for the Derby. I don't know. But anyway, the fact is that, once we get into the calendar year for 2026, things start picking up right away with those Derby prep races. And we'll really start to amp things up once again on a more consistent basis. We're just letting everybody know, just keep that in mind, because this week was really tough based on the fact that there's some weather concerns in New York. It looks like it's going to rain up until, and again, this is just a forecast. It could get worse because they're saying it's going to rain up until about late morning tomorrow. And if that happens, John, then it could, depending on how hard it is, it could be a very wet surface. And there are a couple of graded stakes races on the grass, and they might have to take them off. So, it makes it more difficult for us to decide, maybe we just don't do those races.
Well, that's why we're avoiding the turf races. But it is towards the end of the turf season. They're not going to be running on grass much longer here. And they are stake races, so they may just run over it anyway. They're not protecting the course for anything. Again, the turf season is almost over here.
Yeah, those big turf races coming up on Saturday will be the Hill Prince Stakes, which is race 7, and the Long Island Stakes, which is race number 10. So those are the ones that we were hoping to do, but instead we're going to start off with a stakes race. It's not a graded stakes race, but it is a stakes race. It's a 7 furlong race for filly mares, 3-year-olds and up. And this is called the Pumpkin Pie Stakes, $150,000 race. And the morning line favorite, John, is the 8, Weigh the Risks, a 9-5 shot trained by Chad Brown, coming off a 9, which is a new 2-point top. And it was actually a 4-point top for this year. But he is the morning line favorite. And there are 8 horses in this field, with the second choice being the horse that starts it all off, the number 1, Nick Style, the William Mott trained horse.
Yeah, well, the problem with Nick Style is she just doesn't run all that often. She had 1 race as a 2-year-old, 1 race as a 3-year-old. Last year, she had 4 races. Then she ran 2 races this year and took another 8 months off. Obviously, if she's going to come out and run a 9, she could win. She's 7 for 8 lifetime with a second. So she certainly knows how to win. She won her last race by a neck, and knows before that, 7 out of 8 winners. That's pretty good. But drawing the rail at 7 furlongs off of a long layoff, I would never bet this horse. I would include this horse, but I'm not betting her.
Yeah, since actually she started off her career with a 17, and then since then, every race after that, she ran between a 9 and an 11 with all of those wins you're talking about. So definitely one to keep an eye on. Nick Style will now go to the rest of the field, and we have some long shots here over the next four horses from 2 to 5. You've got 12-1 shots all the way up to 30-1 shots, starting with St. Benedict's Prep, who looks to be a little slow. I mean, the best you got from her are some 11s.
Yeah, she does have a 9 on a wet track last year. If the race comes up sloppy, it's Linda Rice, who's always dangerous, but she looks like she's over her head here.
And then you've got, let's see, Taliesin, a 15-1 shot. And this is actually a pretty decent, I think this is a pretty decent gamble because you're getting good odds. And the main issue is definitely going to be the fact that all of her wins have been on Lasix. But she does have a 10 and a 9 in 2 of her last 3 starts. She's won all 3 of her races at 7 furlongs, and she's getting 15-1 odds.
And the worst race of her life was at Aqueduct when she ran it. It was a mile. I get it. So you could sort of draw a line through it. But this is a Parks horse. I don't really like this horse. Her only race without Lasix 2 starts back was when she ran the 15. So that's not good. You know, yes, it was a route race. But again, I would rather bet the 2 at 12-1 than the 3 at 15-1 if I was choosing between, you know, if I was looking for a price horse.
The 4 looks way too slow. The 30-1 shot, Maggie's Palace.
Yeah, and not only that, well, she does like a moisture in the track. 2 of her best races this year were both wins, both on wet tracks at Saratoga and at Aqueduct when she ran the 13s. But a 13's not going to get it done for you here.
The 5 is Volleyball Princess, and another horse that I think is a decent long shot play at 12-1 because she's getting better. Just taking a look at her line in her last 4 starts from May, 2014, actually a couple of 14s, and then her last race was a 12. So she's going in the right direction. She's finished second in 2 of her last 3 races. She's got to win at Aqueduct. And as I mentioned, she's 12-1.
Yeah, they're all out-of-town races. She does her 2 races at Aqueduct this year, a 14 and a 19. Her first 2 races, not very good, but she is getting better. Her last race was at Parks, Charlestown before that. But I think she's still too slow. I mean, you know, yeah, she could run a new top, but unlikely. And at 12-1, I think you have better options.
The 5 is scalable. And 6, excuse me, is scalable. A 5-1 shot. Pletcher Velazquez combo should be strong. She ran at Aqueduct a couple of starts ago, 7 furlong race, and it happened to be her best race. She ran a 9. But other than that, you know, besides another 12 and a 13, most of her races seem to be around 14 or 15. And she's going off at 5-1. What do you think about Scalable, who had that 9 a couple of starts ago?
Well, the 9 was on a frozen track. So, you know, I don't put too much emphasis into frozen tracks. So, you know, it's just the surface is extremely hard, and usually you need to be close up. You know, at 5-1, is she really a bargain? I don't think so.
No.
So that's the whole point.
Patricia Ann is the 7 at 9-2, and there's some good and bad here. The good is she's really only had 1 bad start since November, because you got to look at it. She had a turf race, she had a sloppy track race, so those were 2 of her 17-18 numbers. The bad race, even though she did finish second, was a 14, but in 3 other races she had 2 10s and an 8. What do you think about Patricia Ann?
Oh, this is my top selection because I like the 3 races you were talking about. The 10 at the end of last year at Aqueduct, the 8 first out this year at Aqueduct. The 14 was off a layoff, so I could certainly excuse it. The 18 was a sloppy racetrack. I could excuse that. Then she ran on the turf. So, you know, and then she ran a 10 when it was the last time she was on a fast track at Aqueduct. So all that being said, you know, I have excuses for the 3 bad races and the 3 good races. Any one of those win this race. And she's the longest out of the horses that have a chance here.
And then there's the 8, and this is the morning line favorite, Weigh the Risks, Chad Brown Training. She ran a 9 in her last start. As I mentioned, she had run a previous 11 at Aqueduct in November of last year. 13 and 14 this year at Aqueduct. Goes to Saratoga, 7 furlongs, runs the 9, goes pretty much wire to wire. She was on Lasix at that time. Matter of fact, the last 3 wins were on Lasix. And again, she's coming off a 9. She's had enough time now, and it's only a 2-point new top. I don't think it's going to be too worried about a bounce, but I'm not sure you see a lot of value here for weigh the risks.
Why would I bet this horse? The 7 horse has an 8 and 2 10s in her last 3 good races. The 8, who's 9-5, has won 9 last time out on Saratoga, off of a layoff, pointing for Saratoga, and then needed another vacation after Saratoga. Horse like this beats you, you tip your hat and you say, have a nice day. But I'm using this horse in exactas, but underneath the 7. I like 7 over 1, 6, and 8. That's the way I see it. And, Carmouche is riding the 7, and I think that's an upgrade as well. So I ended up on the 7 again, who will be the longest price out of the horses, I think, that have a chance.
And I'm going to go ahead and take the 1 with a couple of long shots, the 3 and the 5, as well as the 7. So John will go 7 over 1, 6, 8. I'm going to take the 1 over 3, 5, and 7. And that is race number 4 at Aqueduct on Saturday. Now let's go to the big race of the weekend. And this one is the Mother Goose. So this thing has been going on for a while, I guess. And this is a race for fillies, 3-year-olds.
Right. This used to be the final leg of the Philly Triple Crown. It was never run this late. It used to be run earlier in the year. And I don't know. I guess it lost some of its luster, but let's do it.
Yeah, because it's not a lot of – I can't imagine these are all the top fillies in the –
Well, they just ran in the Breeders' Cup last
year. That doesn't make a lot of sense. The Triple Crown of the fillies after the Breeders' Cup.
Right.
Yeah.
That's part of the stupidity.
Bad job.
Yep.
All right. This will be a $300,000 race, which will go up about $340 on Saturday. The morning line favorite is the 9 Drexel Hill at 7-2. She's got a 6-month layoff since she ran a 3 in the Kentucky Oaks, and she was a 32-1 shot that day. And now she is the morning line favorite at 7-2. We'll get into that a little bit later on.
Did you say she ran a 3? She didn't run a 3.
No, she ran a 13.
Oh, okay.
6 months off. She was 32-1 in that race. Okay, so let's go with the 1 being myself and John Velazquez, Sherry DeVoe combo here. Nothing wrong. 25, 16, and 12. That was her last race, was the 12 in late September. Both of her wins are coming on. Were on Lasix. She's coming off, of course, on Saturday.
Yeah, but she's a 3. She's lightly raced. The 16 and 12 this year that she ran, even though they were on Lasix, there's nothing that indicates us that she wouldn't have run those numbers even if she wasn't on Lasix. That being said, I'm going to use this horse because she's 6-1, and I'm negative on some of the other horses in this race. But I think she's going to probably be shorter than the 6-1.
The 2 is Queen Azteca, coming off a 16 in her last start at Saratoga in the Grade 1 Alabama Stakes, but she seems a little slow.
Yeah, I don't like this horse at all.
Yeah, I'm surprised she's 12-1, actually. The 3 is Lemon Zest, Cox Pratt. That's a hell of a combo. She ran a 10 in June. But other than that, she doesn't have anything that sticks out. She's got 2 of her wins on Lasix. She did run second without it in her last start, but that was 17 in that race, and that was in a mile and a 16. So what about the 3 Lemon Zest?
And she was 40 cents to the dollar that day. And the 8 horse who's in this race, there she was, beat this horse last time out. Just pointing it out, this horse is going to be a lot shorter than 9-2. You got Cox, you got Pratt, who's been the favorite in her last 2 races. I want to try to beat her.
The 4 is Our Daydreaming Girl, an 8-1 shot. And she's coming off an 8, which was a 5-point new top from her previous race, which was her previous best. So now with a little, she's going to have right about the cutoff mark, 5 weeks off. You'd prefer 6, of course, or anything over, but a bounce definitely looks like is something that is going to definitely come out here after she was almost 43-1 when she ran at 8 in the grade 1 race at Parks.
Well, that was the cotillion, so she figured to be a big price. But if you look at her sheet closely, she hasn't done anything wrong this year. 20, 19, and both of those races were with trouble, 14, 13, and 8. So, she's got plenty of time from the 8. I don't like the 8 because it was at Park, so a lot of horses don't run well there and don't run well anywhere else. But at 8-1, I will certainly include this horse in my exactas.
Next up is Philly Freedom, a 15-1 shot with Chad Brown. Ran an 18 his first start, back-to-back 15s, a win last time out, all 3 races on Lasix. Does have a win at Aqueduct, and now she's going to stretch it out to a mile and an 1/8. What about Philly Freedom?
She's too slow. I mean, she's never done anything wrong, but you would need to run a new top.
Well, she's a Chad Brown trained horse that hasn't really done a whole lot wrong, and I think is one of those horses that I'm going to throw in my exactas, but just in case, because it's Chad Brown. The 6 is Fully Subscribed, another Chad Brown trained horse with Dylan Davis.
This Chad Brown horse has a 16 as a 2-year-old, so she's a ladder run. This is my top selection. She ran a 16 first out as a 2-year-old, came out, ran the 16, then she made the forward move. She's got time. I understand the 12 was on Lasix, but the 12 was also at a distance race, and that's what they're running today. I think she has a shot to run the 12 or better, and that's going to win this race. You don't need to run much better than a 12.
Okay. The 7 is Q the Duck Boat, a 6-1 shot, a Mott-trained horse coming off a 10, and that was on synthetic, though. So taking a look at all of her races on a dirt fast track have been mostly 14s.
They've all been 14s. I think she's bouncing anyway off the synthetic. I don't want to bet this horse.
The 8 is a 6-1 shot. Rosario will be on board for the first time. And I think, 6-1, I mean, that's okay, I guess. She ran 2 graded stakes races. She was in the money both times. Her line is also pretty decent, but she doesn't have that big race that we saw previously that we talked about, say, from the 4. I don't know if it'll come on Saturday, but 6-1. That's the problem.
Well, but she's, you like the 5. I guess the 5 is 15-1. She has a similar line to this horse, 16 minus 15. This horse has in her last 2 races. And remember, she beat Lemon Zest last time out.
Yeah.
It is Doug O'Neill shipping in, but the horse would still have to make another forward move.
Yep. Yeah. Again, I hope I can get more odds than 6-1. I don't know, but keep in mind, Joel Rosario does have 4 Mother Goose wins under his resume. So we'll see about that. And then the 9 is Drexel Hill. So Drexel Hill is coming off a 13 in that Kentucky Oaks race, as I mentioned. She was a 32-1 shot. And I really have to question, though, I was kind of surprised that she was 32-1 in the race because even though
good share in the race, you had some serious horses in the race. You needed like a 10 or 11, if you remember the race. Good share was the Brad Cox horse who was on the improve. I'm surprised this horse is 7-2 because I really don't give her much of a chance.
Oh, okay. So where are you going to go with?
I'm going with the 6, Fully Subscribed. I'll use the 1, Being Myself, the 4, Out Day Dream Girl, and the 8. So there she was, 6 with the 1, 4, and 8.
And I'm going to go ahead and take the 9 over the 5 and the 8. So once again, the races, race 9 we just did. John's going 6 over 148. I'm going to take 9 over 58. In the 4th race, John's going 7 over 168. I'm going 1 over 357. And again, as far as the schedule coming up, as we mentioned, things are not really looking like they're going to be picking up a whole lot. So all I can say is to everybody out there that watch, besides the usual, definitely subscribe if you haven't subscribed before. That is the main thing. Please do that. And then also you can any comments, things of that nature to get the comment section rolling, that would be great. Don't forget, and I'm sure you are not forgetting, we have a holiday season coming up. So things are going to get really busy for everybody, including us, as we try to fit these races, in our schedule. What is it? The 7th, actually the 8th next week, this week. So just to give you just a little glimpse ahead, next week, Aqueduct has the Jockey Club Oaks. It's a grade 3 race. They also have the Knickerbocker. That's just a regular stakes race. And Churchill has a grade 3 race as well. So that's all. That's it. That's what's on the card next week. We'll try to let everybody know in advance whenever we're not going to be available. I can pretty much tell you right now that, again, like I said, there will be a couple of weeks we will not be ready to do a show because there's just not a lot to go on, and we'd rather save ourselves for the rest of the year to make sure that we can give you guys the best coverage possible. And Jon, I appreciate it, and I look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Okay, Greg. Thanks. Stay safe and be well, everybody. Thanks for tuning.